could talk about leading with respect. And I think one of the things that tends to happen on this planet is we might act in ways that aren't always respectful because we think, oh, this person deserves it. This person is not a good person, and why should I respect someone who's being shitty to me, who mistreats people? And I'd say we don't respect people because of how people are acting in front of us, but we respect people because we are helping them remember a little bit of the person they could become. And who knows who someone could become a year down the road, 5 years down the road, 10 years down the road. And just because someone is acting disrespectful or acting aggressive in front of us doesn't mean that they couldn't grow into the most loving, kind, amazing human being. And we lead with the respect as a way of helping them remember the person that they're maybe waiting to grow into, or the person that they're very slowly starting to find their way into. And the more empowered, mature, illumined beings are going to be the beings that are the most respectful. And so we lead with respect as a way of helping people remember the consciousness, awareness that they're either avoiding or that they're very, very slowly finding their way into. Because anyone that's acting from a place of mistreating people, saying things that are hurtful, saying things that are aggressive, are usually allowing their emotions to take them over and are coming from an unconscious place, because consciousness is I'm aware of how my words and actions are affecting others. And if I'm unaware of how my words and actions are affecting others and I'm saying things hurtful, I am now acting from a place of unconsciousness, because unconsciousness is the spreading of pain. And however we spread pain in our life is how we are still feeding the patterns within us that are fed off unconsciousness. And that could be rushing, that could be trying to date every person that we're attracted to without even if we know it's the wrong person, just trying to date someone so we don't have to be alone. And then when we feel heartbreak or the other person feels heartbreak on the other side of the relationship, what did that relationship spread? But we still might have grown in it. But a lot of times, if we're making choices that are just creating a lot more heartbreak for us or a lot more heartbreak for others, it might be a good sign to take things slower when we're thinking about who we should date. And most of the people we're going to date are going to be friends. And if we're trying to have a bunch of casual sex with anyone that we're attracted to, right? Sex is a great way to build attachment, a great way to pick up patterns from other people, because it's a huge energy swap. And it usually helps us forget to, and sex is a great thing to do with someone we're in a fully committed relationship with. But if it's just something we're doing casually, it's not really respecting how sacred of an act that is. It's also not usually as fulfilling as doing it with someone we're fully committed to and fully trust. And it's it's usually helping us pick up some of the patterns or darkness of the other person, because whenever we have sex, we're like literally swapping our heart energy, our unconscious, in some of our unconsciousness, some of our pain also is like mixed into that heart energy that then gets swapped with the other person. Some of our unconscious files, subconscious files go into that person, some of their subconscious files go into us. And it really should be done with someone we're fully committed to, that we fully trust, that we fully want to be more like and are inspired to spend time with. And if it's not someone that we really feel that way about, we can still explore it, and there's no shame in whatever we need to explore, but it's most likely someone who's going to be better off as a friend than someone who we date, and it's just a short-term relationship that both leads us to feeling more heartbroken in the long run. And we all have to find that truth in our own way, in our own pattern, but we all deserve the highest romantic relationships that we could find, and the way we get there is by saying the no to people who are pretty close. And so we all, and if we feel like we have like cravings or desires for sex that we say I have to meet them, is that your patterns talking, or is that your conscious and aware part of you talking? Because consciousness and awareness is okay with sitting with their cravings and desires as a way of helping those cravings and desires get burned out of them. And patterns say, I need to act on this now, because if I don't act on this, I will die. And consciousness goes, okay, good, please die. And so when we're thinking about leading with respect, can we lead with respect, and can we also make choices that are in our greatest integrity, which means I'm not causing unnecessary grief, I'm not causing unnecessary heartbreak, when I am aware enough to know that this person is not my person, this person is not someone who I want to be together with for the rest of my life. And when we're thinking about speaking or making choices, can we make choices that are honoring our hearts, honoring the people, honoring other people's hearts as well, and saying words that feel not only good to us but good to other people, no matter how other people are showing up. And if someone's showing up disrespectful, hurtful, or aggressive, what are the words or actions we could take that would be the most respectful for us and also the most respectful to them? Because if someone says something hurtful and we say something hurtful back, we're just helping that person remember more pain, and then they'll go remembering more pain into their next interactions and be more hurtful to those people as well. And if someone says something hurtful and we lead with respect, we lead with, I'm not going to harm you no matter how shitty you're acting to me, we're helping that person remember the respect they have forgotten. And even if they walk away and act like they're unaffected, we just sprinkled a little fairy dust of respect into their field that will slowly grow and slowly help them wake up and remember to treat all with the greatest respect that they can. Because there's a lot of talk on the planet of like old soul, new souls, I'm an old soul. And me personally, I think that's a bunch of I think that's a bunch of crap. I think it doesn't matter what type of soul you are, and that it's all about the choices and words you speak. And anyone can be an enlightened master, anyone can be a Maha avatar or an archangel in human form, and it's just about how loving, conscious, and kind are you willing to be. Sure, maybe it's like having a regular prayer practice, having a regular practice where we're serving or helping other people. And I would say the fastest way, just as a little aside, the fastest way to enlightenment isn't your spiritual practice, but it's how you serve those around you. And leading with respect is serving those around you no matter how they show up, and it's filling your heart up with greater respect no matter how someone speaks to you. And it doesn't mean we stay in environments where people are mistreating us or being disrespectful, but if we lead with respect, we at least are counteracting some of that disrespect that person threw at us, and filling our heart up with greater respect and empowerment, that even when people test us, even when people annoy us or piss us off, that we're still able to act from our highest integrity, which is real power. And if you ask yourself, how would an archangel respond in this situation? They would be incredibly kind and respectful no matter how someone showed up. And if you want to bring more light onto the planet, you want to help create heaven on earth, it's about being willing to be fucking respectful no matter how others show up in view, because it doesn't matter how others show up, but it's how we show up. And we don't stay in environments that are abusive or that mistreat us regularly, and we all have the right to cut those people out of our life. But if we can lead with respect, we are allowing more of our heavenly presence to flow into our body by our willingness to act heavenly on earth. And it's the way we create heaven on earth on the planet. And one of the steps is to be fucking respectful no matter how else anyone else shows up on the planet. in our presence. And just because someone's being shitty in front of us, we don't know what kind of life they live, we don't know how hard their day could have been, and we don't know what kind of person they could be in the future. And so we lead with respect as helping them remember the respect they've forgotten. And I think and here, just as in a part of this teaching, one of the things that I've heard Matt Kahn teach, and I really like, and I think it's super helpful. If someone gives you an insult, if someone says something that's hurtful, one of the ways you could counteract that as a way of like protecting yourself in a way, or a way of leading with respect when someone is being disrespectful. If someone, let's say someone says an insult, you could say, thank you for being insulting to me. And it's making people aware of their actions, because most of the time when people say things that are shitty, most of the time, I'd say, I don't know, maybe 60% of the time, they're unaware of how hurtful, or I would say anytime someone's being hurtful or harmful, they're unaware of how hurtful or harmful their words are, their actions are. And they are so lost in their pain that they can't feel how their words and choices are impacting the hearts of those around them. They are so still working through their pain that their pain has numbed their ability to be empathic. And if someone insults us and we go, thank you for insulting me, we're one, making them aware of the pain they're causing in other people. And two, it's a respectful statement. And if they ask, why are you saying thank you? You could say, because you are showing me the pain you are hiding from. And it's an honor to see you. And you're bringing vulnerability and an intimacy that someone who's avoiding their own vulnerability and intimacy of their own experience. And they will, if they are coming from a place of projecting or avoiding vulnerability, they're going to go, get the fuck away from me, because any vulnerability you put in someone who avoids vulnerability, you'll soon become the next person they need to avoid. And it's one of the ways to subtly diffuse any interaction where you don't feel like someone is being respectful towards you. And another way to do it is, someone's being disrespectful, you could just say, hey, that was hurtful. You keep on acting that way, I'm going to walk away. But we lead with respect. And I think a good example of this, to tie this home, is I was watching a Martin Luther King documentary a while ago, and he was doing a march. They were talking about, he was doing a march in Chicago, I think it was. And they're marching along the street, and a lady steps out of the people that were protesting the march, steps right in front of him, and like yells a racial slur at him. And he responds in, you are far too beautiful to say something so nasty, or something along those lines, is paraphrased. And they keep on marching, and the next time they hold a march, that same lady steps out of the crowd that's protesting and says she's sorry for what she said. And it's a beautiful example of how we can call people higher and remind people of, we are human beings, we have feelings, we are a community of consciousness, we are a community of love, and we are all brothers and sisters walking ourselves together home to remembering and creating heaven on earth. And one of the steps to do that, or one of the first steps, is leading with respect. And just an example from my life is, like, I am someone in high school who felt like a total fuck up, who was completely unworthy, completely lost in a pornography and like masturbation addiction, was completely obsessed with sex, even though I wasn't really getting laid at that time. and felt completely hopeless for my future, and felt like I had no clue how I was going to be a functioning adult because of all the pain I was processing. And I judged other people, and I judged myself, and I would say hurtful words to myself rather like all the time. And I avoided pretty much majority of the feelings that I could feel by binge watching Netflix, by playing games on my phone, by using porn. And I didn't have a lot of hope for myself in high school and even like going into college and maybe some of college too. And I learned in college was like a fresh start, and it was a time where I spent a fair amount of time alone, but it was also a time where I faced myself and I faced my pain, and I started to wake up from the patterns and tendencies I had to avoid all my feelings and started to connect with myself deeper. And over time, I learned to take care of my body better, which was my first step. And eventually I found Matt Kahn, who I think is an incredible healer if you haven't checked out his work. And he talks all about like being more loving and kind to yourself. And I started doing that, and I started to find my way out of the person who was completely unworthy, unlovable, who was afraid to talk to any new person, who was so incredibly shy and quiet. And I remembered more of the incredible, powerful, loving, kind person that I was. And I loved myself through my deepest parts of my pain that I didn't want to face. And am I still someone who's healing? Am I still someone that makes mistakes? Absolutely. But we don't know who someone can become. And I think if you asked most of the people, or if I hung out with people that I knew in high school, I think a lot of them might be surprised about the level of confidence, the level of kindness, the level of joy and peace that I naturally embody now. And while I'm still someone that's healing and growing and doing things right and doing things wrong all the time, I'm rather proud of who I've become. And any person who's acting who we go, that person's a mess, or that person doesn't really seem like they're ever going to turn out better. We never know what might change in them or what path they might be walking to become the most incredible person this planet has ever seen. And we lead with respect as a way of respecting people's journeys, because we don't know the level of pain they might have survived. We don't know how hard their year, their week, their day has been. And we have compassion because in another lifetime, just because we think someone is in a different body, who's to say that isn't you in another lifetime? Because sure, people talk about souls, and there's all these different ways of breaking up how many different lifetimes you're living at once. But I think even on a deeper level than souls, the light within you is the light within me, and the light within you is no different than the light within me. And that's what they really talk about when they talk about unity, is the light that brings one person to life is the light that brings all people to life. And if the light is no different from one person to another, that means the light that's bringing you to life, that is what you are, is also the light in every other person. And it means you live every lifetime. And it's something I've talked about before, but I think it's a rather strong point to hit, is you will have all experiences, you will live all possibilities, and every person you see will be a lifetime you live out. And how much more respectful and compassionate of people will you be, or would you be, if you came to the realization that their journey is a journey you'll have to walk? And it's why people want to help other people, and it's why people want to help heal other people, because on a deep level, even if it's subconscious, they understand unity, and they understand that everyone is hurting, and someone else's hurt isn't reflection of hurt you have within you, but it's reflection of the hurt you will have in yourself in a different lifetime when you live out the life as them. And we're a community of brothers and sisters, all helping each other find our way to the divine remembrance of heaven on earth. And we're going to create it together, and we need every person on the planet. And anytime we're respectful, we're helping people who've forgotten their respect to remember it a little bit more, even if they don't show it on the outside. So I hope that helps. Thank you for listening.